Welcome back. In the previous video, we used the graph of the line y is equal to 3x plus 2 to find the value of y when x is equal to 3. In this video, we will solve the last part of this question. That is, from the graph, find the y-intercept of the line. From the videos on finding the y-intercept of a straight line, when you were given the equation of the straight line, we learned that whenever you are given the equation of the straight line, the first thing you need to do is to express it in the form of the general equation of a straight line. The general equation of a straight line is of the form y is equal to ms plus c. In that video, we learned that if you express the equation of a straight line in the form y is equal to ms plus c, c will give you the y-intercept of the straight line. The equation of the straight line that we have been given is y is equal to 3x plus 2. It is already in the form of the general equation of a straight line. So if you compare y is equal to ms plus c with y is equal to 3x plus 2, we can see that c is equal to 2. So the y-intercept of the straight line is 2. So before we go to the graph, we have been able to find the y-intercept of the straight line as 2. But this is not what the question wants us to do. The question wants us to use the graph to find the y-intercept of the straight line. So let's learn how to do that on the graph. So from the graph, find the y-intercept of the straight line. In the videos on finding the y-intercept of a straight line from the equation of the straight line, we learned that if we draw a straight line on a graph sheet as we have here, so we have this straight line, we have the x-axis and the y-axis. The y-intercept of the straight line is the point on the y-axis where the line cuts the y-axis. So it's the point where the line cuts the y-axis. So this point. So it means that if we have the straight line on a graph sheet like this, the y-intercept is the point where the line cuts the y-axis. So on this diagram, C is the y-intercept. That is the point where the line cuts the y-axis. Let's do this on our graph sheet. So on this graph sheet, we have already plotted the points -4, -10, and 1, 5 to draw the straight line. We use the points -2.5, -5, and 2.5, 10 to find the gradient of the straight line. Then in the previous video, we found the value of y when x is equal to 3. So at this stage of the question, this is how your graph sheet will look like. Now we are going to use the graph to find the y-intercept. As we have already seen, the y-intercept will be the point where the line cuts the y-axis. So it means that the y-intercept is this point. So all you need to do is to read the value at this point. I'm going to zoom into that point so that you see what is happening. Okay, so this is the point where the line cuts the y-axis. This point, that is the point where the line cuts the y-axis. We have to read the value there. How do we read it? We have 0 here and here is 5. So the difference between 5 and 0 is 5. That's why on the scale we have 2 centimeters to 5 units on the y-axis. So the difference between 0 and 5 is 5 or 5 units. We have 10 divisions between 0 and 5. By divisions, I mean the lines. So we have 10 lines between 0 and 5. We have seen that the difference between 0 and 5 is 5 units. And we have 10 divisions between them. So each division or each line will give us 5 units divided by 10. We have 5 units and 10 lines. So it means that each line will be 5 units divided by 10. So it means that on the y-axis, each division or each line is 5 divided by 10. 5 divided by 10 is 0.5. So it means that each division or each line is 0.5. Now when we count from 0, the line intercepts or cuts the y-axis at the 4th division. So when we count from 0, we have the first division, which is 1, the second division 2, the third division 3, and the fourth division, which is 4. We have seen that each one of them is 0.5. So from 0 to the first one will be 0.5. To the next one, you add another 0.5. So you have 0.5 and 0.5, and that will give us 1. To the next one, you add another 0.5, and that will give us 1.5. Then to the next one, you add another 0.5, and that will give us 2. So from 0, we move on to 0.5, 1, 1.5, and 2. So 2 will be the fourth division. That means that from this graph, the line intersects the y-axis at 2, meaning that on the graph sheet, the y-intercept is 2. So from the graph, the y-intercept is 2. Now you can see that we are having 2, which is the same as the y-intercept we got when we used the equation of the straight line. We have been able to find the gradient of the straight line from the graph. We have been able to find the value of y when x is equal to 3 from the graph. And in this video, we have been able to use the graph to find the y-intercept of the straight line. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to this channel for more videos. In the next video, we are going to solve another question on drawing the graph of a straight line on a graph sheet. Bye bye.